Hi there, welcome to another episode. As always, we have a wonderful, interesting, unusual, exciting guest for you. Today's guest is Polly Brennan. He's an outdoor enthusiast, occupational therapist, a mental fitness coach, and he's the founder of Adventurous Coaching. And I just love Polly's story and her background and the work that she does with people. She's working with people from all around the globe, helping thousands of people from all walks of life to be on their A game and pack their mental fitness kit bag for life's big adventures. And I love the adventure part of it. So Polly, welcome. Tell us a bit more about yourself. Where does this adventurous coaching come from?
Hello and welcome. Thank you for having me here. I feel very welcome, very glad to be here. It's a lovely part of my day today. So thank you. So thank you for the lovely intro. And of course, you described lots of different things about me. Um, I guess the golden thread of everything that you've described about me is that I believe that everything that life and everything that we do can and should feel like an adventure. So I'm an adventurous person. I haven't always been. Um, and I also believe that we can take an adventurous approach to life. And I think they're two really, really different things. So I love being in the outdoors. I love being on the move. I love trying new things. So in my personal life, there's a really big part of who I am that is someone who likes to explore the world and experiment and learn about myself. But also it's absolutely possible to be adventurous without having that sort of, those personal hobbies and interests. I think they're two absolutely different things.
I think it's all about mindset. And as you were talking about kind of the adventure, there is this ongoing idea, conversation, or discussion going on in my mind and probably in the world as well between stepping out of comfort zone. So there are lots of people who say, to grow, you need to step out of your comfort zone, you need to push yourself out of your comfort zone. The good things never happen inside of comfort zone. And yet you have people who say, it's okay, like we can grow within the comfort zone. We don't need to do the big, scary, challenging things to grow. And I think that almost the way you describe it feels like reframing and stepping away from the comfort zone question, and yet talking about the same thing but in a different way. So how do
Yeah.
you see it, the adventurous life and comfort zone, this kind of a discussion?
Yeah. No, it's a great topic of conversation, isn't it? Brilliant topic of conversation. So, um, comfort zone. Um, Sometimes I think sometimes in life we just need to press pause on all the external demands and pressures and expectations about who we're supposed to be in the world. There's a lot of culture and society has a lot of expectations about what we should be, a lot of messages that we get, and our own internal messages which can come from like our childhood, our upbringing, or how we think we should be. And as humans, we're really action biased. So I think we're designed to and feel we should always be doing something and on the go, which is great if it works. But sometimes in life, we do just need to like press pause and enjoy just being in the world, just enjoy, the luxury of being someone who's alive and healthy, and just being able to be happy in our own skin is just really, really powerful. And in that respect, I think that, every day you can be in your comfort zone and every day can still have an adventurous streak. So I carried out a challenge. A client of mine said, I want to get more connected. I feel really isolated. I want to be more connected. I want to be more adventurous, and I want to be out of my mind, outside of my head and into action. So we created a an adventure challenge for 30 days. And instead of setting a daily challenge, we just created a list of like, wow, I mean, how many things could we come up with that might feel adventurous? And the lovely thing was, it was just about her perception of adventure. But what we decided to do was involve other people and get their ideas too. And we came up with over 100 ideas for adventure. And then other people got excited about it too because we put it on social media and other people started to get involved. And what we started to do was, it's funny how things can, everything's contagious. So if we're thinking about the sad and the difficult stuff, that can be contagious and that can encourage us to start to put, our optics on that. But when we're thinking about positive things, it can be contagious too. So it was one of these things that snowballed and lots of other people said, can we join in? And people were posting things like, I always drive past this field and there's these hay bales, and I always wanted to just get on top of a hay bale. And like I'd never thought like I should or I could. But guess what? Today I stopped the car. I climbed over a fence and I got on a hay bale, and there's a picture. Or someone said, I just had an ordinary day and it was a comfort zone day. But guess what? When I was in the laundrette waiting for my clothes to dry, I had post-it notes in my pocket and I started writing little notes. And one of them was like, wash away your worries today, because she was in the laundrette. And then she started kind of thinking of other little messages. What would she thought, what would I like to see if I found a note from someone? And then also like, what would I like to say to someone else about their day? So her day was a really adventurous, ordinary day, just based upon the idea that um, she didn't want to be out of her comfort zone and perhaps was having a tough time, but she still found a way to bring that outlook, and that, as you say, mindset to her day. And also, maybe sometimes in life we are always looking for something like, I'm a sunshine summer baby. I'm always looking for the sun. But guess what? There's sunshine within me that I can find even on those days where I can't have sun. So perhaps it's the same with adventure. Maybe we can just carry it with us as an approach or a way to see the world. Maybe we've got to just, I don't know, get our magnifying glasses out and spot more potential for just kind of little slithers of adventure. Interesting.
Yeah, it makes so much sense. And started thinking that, adventure could be something similar to how we approach gratitude, to be grateful for the little things in life and to share gratitude. I think the very powerful thing about gratitude, not only to, journal or gratitude and think gratitude, but also share, tell others what you're grateful for, uh, receive gratitude from others with open arms. I think the same could be done, and the perception of adventure can be very similar. It's like, because we can be grateful for little things, like nothing major can happen, and yet we can have this sense of gratitude. And the same is
Lovely.
true for adventure.
I
And the
love
same thing, I always have this tourist mindset in my mind that no matter where I live and where I go, I never know how long I'm going to stay because I'm not the person to really settle. So I love just living wherever I am, as every day is an adventure because I'm being a tourist, even in my own city, even in my own little town. And I'm always looking at like, what's new, what's different, which street I haven't been to, which little part I haven't explored, which leaves I haven't seen in a while, just paying attention to the little details. I think that really is something that we all can find and we have within our reach on daily basis, are these little, touristy experiences, little gratitude moments, little adventures.
Love it. Absolutely love it. There's just, you can take that word adventure and you can change it. You can define it, can't you? So, I told you at the beginning, adventure for me is kind of adrenaline fueled and it is about being on the move and it's excitement. But when I ask people, the key question is, what does adventure mean to you? Really, what does adventure mean to you? Because I believe we've all got an adventurous streak, but what does it mean? And when I ask that question to people, some people will describe um adventures about learning. I love to gather new information and learn something new and educate myself. Someone else might say it's about working with my hands and being able to make and create something that didn't exist before I made it so. Someone else might say, for example, your lovely example, like adventure for me is about finding the good or finding new things in everyday life. letting life surprise me in my own space. Lovely. And also gratitude is a way to be adventurous about life, isn't it? Is to spot the good. And I think adventure is just an event or an experience that brings something kind of positive or magical to your day. So I guess we all get to define it for ourselves, which is lovely, which is why I love that. Love that concept.
And one of the things that I know about you is that you help people kind of with their resilience when they feel stuck to find themselves in a crossroad. And I'm curious how then the adventure plays a role with the work that you do in terms of building up resilience or getting people unstuck. And obviously, I kind of understand how to find ourselves through adventure. But what is the role that adventure or seeking adventure plays for you when it comes to like building resilience or getting unstuck?
Yeah, I love this question, Lenka. Um, for me personally, they're completely connected. I think that whatever challenge we're facing or whatever goal we want to achieve, we can take an adventurous approach. When people feel as we all will in life at some point, because we're all human, we're all messy, we all get stuck. So this is perfect because it means we're all perfectly imperfect, and it means we're all at some point going to need some support. We're all really resilient within, and we can all have more resilience and well-being strategies. I guess sometimes I'll say to people, when things get tough in life, pain is inevitable, but I really strongly believe that suffering is optional. I don't believe that the process of getting unstuck or overcoming an adversity needs to be, a process where you suffer. And I absolutely believe that you can take an adventurous approach just to how you work through something. Before I was full-time as a business owner and entrepreneur, I spent a few years with a career in the NHS and a business, which was a side hustle really. And before that, I was an occupational therapist full-time for the NHS. And my mission was that when you work with people with severe, enduring mental health issues, it's a painful and difficult place to be for that person. And I guess my mission and my outlook was, how can I help them have, I guess my reframe was a well-being adventure or a recovery adventure. How can this experience for them be positive, memorable, a learning experience? How do we turn this kind of illness kind of mindset into a belief that it's a space to feel vulnerable and become resilient, and they completely coexist. So going right back, I think for me it was always let's do some good work, but let's make sure this is game changing for the people I'm helping. What if we can make it so they don't come back into services again? They've really they've changed their life because they've got on board, got really well. And so I think there was something about a very adventurous approach to being an occupational therapist. And, doing things, going a little bit rogue with how we worked. I stole the consultant psychiatrist prescription pad and started writing social and mental fitness prescriptions before social prescribing existed. And, encouraging people to focus on, what was possible, so solution focused practices before that was allowed, because we dealt in medication, and you need medication to get well. And taking people who were unwell and saying, if you want to overcome a problem with anxiety, and you can't go out and travel in public transport because of your anxiety, do you want me to help you deal with the anxiety, or do you want to find a new way to be mobile and, socially mobile? And we would do things like, let's explore how you could walk places, or do you want to learn how to ride a bike? And then you could bike places. And often with these stories, what started off as like a simple solution to a problem just became a life-changing experience. Like, oh my gosh, I love biking, and guess what? I love it so much, it's actually helping me feel resilient. And actually, it's made me wonder if I could maybe I could go more places and start to live a bit more life a bit more, which then became a actually I'd like to volunteer, and I think cycling's got something to do with it. Becoming a guess what? I'm now a bike volunteer for young people, and and I'm gonna go abroad for the first time in my life, and I never ever had a passport because nobody in my family ever worked or traveled. So, little things like that where you just you sort of take someone on an adventure and then realize that, you could do something with it. Also in the NHS, I used to sort of work with my last role involved working with a bunch of young men who, had quite complex health problems, and they had like dual diagnosis. And often it'd be like, why don't we talk about recovery while we build a campfire in the woods? Like we're supposed to be on the ward being all clinical, but trying to just bring adventure into their recovery journey. And I think that you can do that as a coach, which is a slightly different role to being a therapist. You can continue that lovely way of working where we can work adventurously. But Linka, I also like to create adventure experiences. So for people that want to explore, like what would well-being mean if I was to press pause on my busy life, my reactive busy life where, I'm not really making time to connect and reflect. I like to create experiences to help people stop and just, literally press pause and to give themselves permission to understand and learn more about themselves and what they really want going forward and how they can take care of themselves and be more resilient while they do it. And I love to do that whilst, being at the beach or in the woods or in different environments. So that's a kind of little side thing to what I do as well. It's like, why don't we actually bring the two of these things together and work on the mental fitness and the mental resilience while we have fun. So there's usually like we all usually end up climbing trees or getting in the sea, or there's always fire building and things like that go on. So yeah. Does that answer the question? I think I just talked a lot.
Well, it doesn't matter necessarily if you answer the question or not, but you definitely shared something interesting and valuable, and that's why we're here. And you made me think of other things. And really, what I was getting, especially at the end as you were talking, it's the sense of embodiment, because often, mental health issues, anxiety, depression, it's a lot of talk therapy, it's lots of like cognitive work, it's lots of, clinical work, sitting in an office, and the body is not involved and the world is not involved. So I love that you're bringing, the mental health fitness into the physical realm of the sensory of like seeing beautiful things, touching beautiful things, smelling beautiful things, bringing the body to, move and create stuff that often takes you out of your head and into the body and feels you more grounded. And we had wonderful guests who talked about the power of walking, forest bathing, all sorts of embodiment practices. So I love that you're also using it in your own adventurous way in your practice working with people, that again it's coaching or therapy or any kind of a recovery journey really doesn't have to be boring and very restrictive. As you said, adventures can be anything. It could be like the ceramics class, it could be going to a cat cafe to pet a couple cats, because that would be an awesome experience for me.
Yeah, it's lovely. It's great, isn't it? It's just this exciting world opens up where you think, oh my gosh, it could be anything. And I get so excited when other people start to talk about adventures for them because I'm like, wow, I never even thought of that. Wow. And I think that learning how other people approach adventure is a great way to get excited and inspired because anytime someone describes something that makes me go, or ooh, I'm like, right, this means something. Or if I get a little bit of FOMO about what someone's doing, I'm like, just listen to this, it means something. It really does. Yeah. And as you say, something about, the B part of CBT is great. We need to change how we're thinking, but we also need to experience it in action and have the opportunity to make practical changes. Because people are clever. We often know when it comes to developing ourselves or change. Sometimes, people really know the theory on what they need to do, but it's actually applying things to practice and doing that's where we get stuck. And I hold my hand up to say I am one of those people because, I am a work in progress too. and some of the things I'm helping people with. I wonder how many coaches and therapists and people would say, yeah, I'm working on these things too for myself. And I do like to share that with people, not as an overshare, but as a, by the way, you're not alone. The common humanity of this is that we're all working on stuff together. And when you feel, I think when people feel like life's got difficult, it can be a very isolating thing. So we do have to share and talk. That part's really, really important.
You make it sound like so much fun, visualizing fire in the woods and climbing trees and all sorts. It just sounds like so much fun. Sometimes as like you said, we humans, we work in progress, we overcomplicate things. And like you said, it's just being adventurous, finding ways to be adventurous. It's simple, and this simple can be very powerful. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's easy and devalue it, but simple can sometimes be just what you need. When we overcomplicate things, and I think of adventure is spend a year training so that you can climb Mount Everest, because that's a serious adventure, or spend 2 weeks walking the Santo de Campo. Hopefully I got that right. Lenka will correct me. These are all massive adventures, and they can be complicated because you've got to put in the training, the financial aspects of it, what you need. But yet stopping the car, climbing over a fence and climbing onto some hay bales, what's more simple than that? Or just joining a ceramics class, or maybe trying a different dish, going onto YouTube and looking at how to make chicken or bake a cake, and trying something that you haven't tried can be really simple. And I think we like to overcomplicate and think, well, I can't really go on an adventure now because the thought of climbing Mount Everest is like, whoa, can I really deal with that? But maybe I should try this new cake recipe, or read this book, this type of author that I've not read before, or this genre, or listen to something, or take that walk, or just climb a hay bale. I mean, how amazing will that be? And I've noticed a lot of the adventure stuff that you were talking about is all on outdoors. And of course, the power of being outdoors, the therapeuticness. I've just made up a word, I
That's
think.
a great word.
Therapeuticness.
Let's have it. It's official today. Natalie King, new
Oh,
word.
I love it. So the therapeuticness of nature, how wonderful is that? And like you said, you've supposedly on the ward, but actually you're in the forest building a fire, and there's nothing more calming or stimulating or just connecting than putting the wood together, crumpling paper, or finding the twigs, finding the wood first of all, and then lighting it and seeing it come alive, and doing this. Come on, is it going to take, do we need more? And seeing those flames, and it's like, and then when it all starts to catch, I mean, it's such a process, and you're so focused on it
Yeah.
that you're not thinking about anything else. And I think that was probably a core of what your adventure is all about, is just this being out in nature, doing something different, even if it is creating something with your hands. So I love how you've brought in a different perspective on something, because like I said before, talking to you, adventure was, these serious adventures that take some serious commitment. I never thought that playing with my sewing machine or baking something new, I could class it as an adventure. And it's when you said that, I was like, I like this idea. Right. I'm now giving myself permission to later on, after recording this, go have an adventure in my lounge.
Absolutely. It's about giving yourself permission, isn't it? And also reframing. It doesn't, the only thing, so as it Wayne Dyer said, if you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. It's such a simple and lovely quote, isn't it? So just by changing your thinking on that thing, you can go play and almost remind yourself it's to be enjoyed. and also that it's something you can give yourself permission for. And I am such a big advocate of micro adventuring, because people don't always have the freedom or the finance to just disappear off to the world for 6 months, or to the time as a resource to plan and prepare. But micro adventures are available every day. And the things I get most excited about are things like going on my bike, 10 minutes on the bike to the lighthouse when the sun's setting. Oh wow, it was free and available. I just needed to decide it was an adventure. Also things like I once just decided, and it was kind of connected to a pain point. I decided to send a message in a bottle. And it was because I was having a problem in my life, and I was like, I don't know how to solve it. I'm stuck. And I don't know why. I just felt like it would help me to sort of release it by writing it down. And I wrote a letter, and it was kind of like Dear Universe or something like that. But it was kind of like, I don't know, I didn't really ever think anything more than I just let it go. So I wrote this letter, and it was like, I've got a problem I really want to solve, and I don't know how, and I'm hoping it will change. I hope I can outgrow this problem. So it's just not important anymore, and it's past. And so I popped a message in a bottle, threw it out to sea, forgot all about it. And that, to me, just the experience of putting a message in a bottle and throwing it out to sea was like, because I had to take the time out to think about how I was feeling. And then I had to go on a little journey in my car to go, find a good spot on the beach, throw it away. But I completely forgot about it. And then somebody contacted me on social media about maybe 6 weeks later, and they were like, we found your message. We found your message in a bottle. And I had actually forgotten that I'd made one. I forgot I'd made one. I feel like I need to get hold on 1 second. So like I have this as a little prop to remind myself, as a little bottle, and it's a message that I'm gonna I've thought this time it's a gratitude, but it's a gratitude for something I want in the future. So I'm saying thank you as if I have it. But it reminded me that it was adventurous and fun, just the experience of it. But it was a lovely way to connect with someone. And the person who contacted me was a beach ranger from in the north of England. So it was maybe it traveled 50 miles up the coast. So I was like, wow, I can't believe it. But they got excited about the adventure. They got excited about the idea of messages in a bottle. And I thought they were going to tell me off for like litter in the beach, but they were like, this is so cool. And then they said, can we copy it? Can we do the same? Yes, of course you can, said I. So they did the same. And who knows, I've decided in my mind that perhaps there's been a bit of a ripple effect, that maybe someone might have found theirs, and so where did it go? Who knows? But actually, strangely, the problem, and once I connected again with what I'd written down, it had passed, it was gone. And it was quite a big one. It was like, how do I leave my career? Like, how do I become a full-time coach? And I need to make it was a really big change. And it was like, I have solved that problem. So, and then you can get into thinking about, the power of writing things down and really connecting with our intentions, and then allowing our brain to start to subconsciously solve problems. It's like, that's a whole other conversation, isn't it? But things like that, a message in a bottle, or the lady that I was coaching, she got really excited about her adventure list, and she was like, what did she do? She wanted to be naked in her garden. So she like waited till it was dark, and she was like, I'm going out into my garden naked. And it was so liberating for her, just like, nobody saw me, but I just like, yeah, I just want to feel free. She was like baking cookies and leaving them at people's doorsteps, or neighbors, but not leaving a note so people would get a surprise. And then she said, she wanted to create a free hugs event. Like, what if this is pre-COVID, what if we went out into the street and just literally like put a sign up saying free hugs? And I said, well, I'll support you. And then we rallied a group of people, and we went to the busiest spot of Newcastle at the busiest time of the day of the week, and we stood there, free hugs. It was like, don't know what's going to happen. Like people might look at us like we're crazy, people might love it, people might be unkind. And the number of people who just loved the idea. People were coming up to us saying, this is so lovely. Like, we don't want, hugging's great. There was a big bunch of guys from Germany who were like visiting the area, came along, and they were like, gosh, you're so friendly in the north. And what else happened? There was a lady that didn't feel she wanted to hug, but she was like, I'm curious. And we had someone in our group that didn't want to hug either. They were like, I don't want to do it, but I'm curious. And they had a hug. So it was like, that's lovely. But people said it was an important connecting thing, and they felt like they wanted more hugs. And it was actually young people were coming for hugs. And one man came up and had a hug and said, I have not been hugged in 2 years. And we were like, group, it was like a big group hug. But so like, I mean, it was just a crazy random thing, but it was like, we did it. We didn't know what the outcome would be. So there's a lot of vulnerability in trying something or saying yes to something where you risk, uncertainty or exposure, and you don't know how it'll go. So that was a really interesting adventure. But yeah, there's so many things we could do every day that would make our lives adventurous, that could be really, really simple. So if for people listening, and even for us, let's just hold on to that and think, oh, what kind of things might that be? I do love going out under the stars on a lovely night and just with Coco, sitting under the stars or things like that. You're like, I could be at home watching TV, but I'm sitting outdoors. So yeah, lots of good ideas may come from this. Maybe we could start a campaign.
And it goes back to the simple and even the free, because like you said, it's getting on your bike and going to a lighthouse. Okay, lighthouse will be a bit far for me, but just finding what you can do. So there's not a massive financial cost. There's most probably a time, but it's also from the stories that you're sharing, it's also about giving, and the kindness to others. Like you said, somebody wanting to see what it's like about giving a free hug and how that can pass on. And like you said, your message in a bottle, how that can inspire whoever finds the bottle, if the bottle is found. But it's having this, doing something without expecting an outcome from it. It's doing it for the sake of doing it. So you didn't put out that bottle and think, right, I'm going to get an answer, or will somebody see it? That wasn't the point. The point was that experience of, like you said, that writing, putting it on paper, putting it into a bottle, and then sending that bottle out there. And even that's, as you said, the writing bit can be very therapeutic. I know that, quite a lot of times when you're saying goodbye to somebody, usually a divorce or a breakup, it's get all old photos or letters and burn them and just say goodbye and send goodbye out into the world. And it's something very similar. And like you said, with the hugs, it's helping somebody else to see. I mean, an adventure now could be just smiling. I'm going to smile at the first 10 people I see, or something like that. And it would be very interesting to see how the hugging is received now, because you said this experience was done before COVID.
Yeah.
It'd be really interesting to see how it's perceived now. And I think you must find more people have not been hugged in a long time, and because a lot of people are still scared of that physical contact from people they don't know. And it might be a wonderful way to get people to reconnect. So adventure can be very much about reconnecting or connecting with others, because it's when you're doing something else. I mean, the message in a bottle, you connected with a ranger 50 miles up the coast. The hugging one is connecting with a lot of strangers, but that connection can really help with resilience, with the gratitude. I mean, even the cookies on at the neighbors by the front door, that might not be a physical connection, but you're still building a connection and having that thought that you're sharing, and hopefully the person, when they open the door, gives them that burst of joy, or like, oh, nice surprise. And that can just build the resilience. And I mean, through that is also the confidence, but it's building the resilience, which then helps with physical wellness as well, not just mental wellness, but physical wellness as well. Because when you are low or down or struggling in whatever you're in, you just go down, and your physical health can also start to deteriorate. But the minute you shifting that and you're looking at it in a different way and building the resilience, you bringing it up and reconnecting with yourself, with others. And it also sounds like a really important way to sort of maybe start or even try to create friendships. And we've had somebody who's talked about the power of friendships on our podcasts, and even that can build that connection, that resilience. So this, just using that one, I'm going to say little word, but it's not really a little word when you spell it out, adventure, and just looking at it, how powerful that can be to creating such differences in your life, and you don't necessarily know where it goes.
Absolutely. My role at the moment is I help teams and leaders and individuals like rediscover their resourcefulness and the tools to strengthen mental fitness. And I guess because of that, it can make every day feel like an adventure. That's kind of the work I'm doing most. But what I love to do, what I really love to do is I really love to work with young people. So when I'm making enough money for my business in the way I've just described, often leaves me with opportunities to work with other people who can't pay. And what I really love to do particularly is working with young people and offering them coaching. So one-to-one coaching around maybe a mental fitness challenge, so that they've kind of packed their kit bag. And going forward, their journey can be more resilient. And my kind of contract with them is that this is free, but what you're going to do in return is you're going to pay it forward. So you're not going to pay anything back to me ever, but you will reach a time when you become more resourceful. And when that time comes, you'll know what resourceful might mean. You'll know that you can give something forward, and it's a ripple effect. And then that would be your brief to the person that you help, is you can ask them to pay it forward. And it just builds this sense that we all might need something, but we can all give something that to remind us that our actions can change, maybe not the world, but like a person's world. And just build a sense of responsibility. Like we've all got responsibility, not just for ourselves and who we are, but for each other. So I love that. And as you say, adventuring and helping each other, gestures and actions for others can make such an impact. Such an impact. It's powerful stuff, isn't it? And the power of connections are, absolutely priceless. Really priceless. Can I just tell you, I'm part of a group on Facebook, but it's a bunch of people who are local, called Wild Woman Adventures, set up by someone who just simply created. She's called Maggie Martin. She's an incredible human. She just created something she needed at a point where things felt a bit tricky in her life, and has built a community now. There's thousands of women in it. So and it's a space where we'll celebrate your difference and embrace you, whoever you are, if you want to come and get involved and try something new. And what's lovely is that space has become a powerful place for women to invite and encourage each other to get out and do stuff. Everything from someone's involved in a dance class and wants to encourage other people who might find that therapeutic, to a bunch of people like, let's go out to play on a school night, where we've all met with roller boots and gone out to play, when we're like, oh, we should probably be doing grown-up stuff, but we don't care. And putting our welly boots on a cold, dark winter's night and just head torches and going for a walk in the woods in the dark and the cold. So there's so many random things, some really big adventures, and some just things where it's do you want to come out to play, because there's going to be someone in that group who will want to as well. And if you're brave enough to connect or to say hi or post, then you're going to make a new friend and you're going to have fun. What's not to love about that?
It sounds so amazing, and it's connecting with your inner child, isn't it? You like, come out on a school night, let's just go play in the woods. I love that. I think it's
Yeah.
what we all need. We need to stop adulting sometimes and just allow that inner child to come out and play. And we get so I'm going to use our favorite word, Lenka, should. We should be doing this, we should be doing that, and shoulding all over ourselves. And it's like, yeah, but I'm an adult. I'm now going to be an adult. I've got responsibilities. I've got to deal with these responsibilities. But yet, like you said, just putting on your wellies, going out, head torches in the middle of winter and a cold night, and just go and play. I mean, there's nothing more fun than when all the leaves have fallen in the autumn and just kicking them and just having a load of fun and seeing what happens. And I think that's so powerful in so many different ways. Just allowing that inner child to come out and just say hi, let's just have some fun for an hour or two. The world is still going to turn, the bills are still going to be there, life and adulting is still going to be there. But when you take that break from that, how it can help you with your physical health or mental health, your resilience, your just having a different outlook on life. So thank you for sharing about that group, because that sounds really amazing. And of course, for anybody who's in a different area or different country, this might be something they might think, oh, I'd like to start something like that, just see where it goes, so you put the idea out there as well, which I think is fantastic. Because
and maybe for people listening, there might be something like that already happening around where you are that you don't know about yet. So it's about finding just finding out more about what's happening. And the power of social media is a really good way to find out what is happening near you, which is lovely. And by the way, I don't know if you know this or not, but if you get, I don't know how this applies to you, but if you get to 40, Lenka, you're probably both far too young for this. If you get to 40 and you haven't grown up, you don't actually have to. It's like, I don't know if you know this, but it is a rule. So now I'm sort of in my approaching kind of mid-50s. I'm just like, to hell with that. I'm just going to grow old disgracefully. I'm just going to have fun. Yeah, the should starts to go. I think we kind of definitely think sometimes of age as being like a thing to be feared or dreaded, but it brings a lovely freedom where like that S and should just you score it out. It's just SH, just make it a C. Do it, you can, if you want, you don't have to. It's lovely, liberating.
I love that permission that you've given me just to stop adulting for a while and just go. And it's great. And I think Lenka is on her way to, just doing all the fun bits with all her adventuring and bits that she does. But it's also, I think it's also a lot in finding your cohorts, finding your partner in crime, and those people who you can go and say, let's just go out on a school night and have fun, or let's do something together. And I think it gives you that freedom to maybe slowly reach out to somebody, either a neighbor or somebody within your area, or find somebody is if you don't know anybody who's you feel that you can do this with, there's nothing wrong with trying to find that person who might want these adventures with you, or who will support and encourage you. And I think that can also be really important, is finding that right connections, that right tribe or community that also would like to do it. And if if you do find being with other people difficult, it's just find one person. It doesn't have to be a massive group. It can just be one person who maybe you just share. When you bake a cake, you share some of it with them and say, what do you think? How what does it taste like? Any feedback? That can also in its own way be fun, because you giving them something tasty and getting the feedback and building your confidence with it and trying. And then who knows, you might even end up having a competition who can bake the nicest cake or cake or whatever it is. You can have real fun with it.
Yeah.
So I think it's also important to have your cohorts or your partners in crime. It's always good.
Yeah, I think so. There's something about building, because I'm from Scotland, I would say building your clan. It's just, finding people around you that either they think like you, so you're like, God, this is so easy. You've got great ideas, or you want the same things, or people who are so different in the way they think that it opens your mind, because you're like, whoa, I don't see the world like you, or I wouldn't have thought of that idea, but that's great too. It's brilliant, isn't it? Finding the people. And as you said, it's okay just to find one person and start, because with one person you can maybe have a bit of courage or confidence to go try something. And sometimes that leads to, other connecting with other people. And I do believe that sometimes things can just snowball with just one thing.
Definitely. And it's just making that start, that simple little start of shifting your perception about adventure and just looking at things in a different way, and just starting really simple. So on that note, I mean, this is something we can talk about for hours and ages, and go into all different types of adventures that we can have. But we always like to give our guests an opportunity to either share something. Maybe there's something you want to share we haven't asked, or is there like a tip or a gold nugget that you feel that you want to share with us? So now's your space to just give that last thought, or like I said, something we might not have asked you that you want to share.
Oh, thank you. That's really, really generous of you. The core work that I do with people is the kind of strap line is about, my business is called Adventurous Coaching, but the strap line is all about sort of strengthen your mental fitness, and that you can take a really adventurous approach to that. So I take a playful and adventurous approach to how I work with people. So I talk about the idea of your kit bag. It's not a new concept, but it's really just about the idea that life's journeys, we're on a journey, and we do need um we need resilient journeys, and to have that, we need to prime the pump, and we need to understand um what tools and strategies and resources we need. I think if people are already very resourceful. So it's not about mental health isn't about telling people how to be mentally well. People have people are doing a good job, but it's all about the idea that, a little bit like working on your physical health, your mental health muscles need the workouts too. And we don't want to wait till our pants are on fire. We don't wait till the house is on fire to put the fire out, yeah. So we mustn't do that with ourselves. And I guess I've been doing a lot of work with teams recently, and I've been doing a lot of talking and speaking events where I've been focusing on like the SAS of mental fitness, because if you don't do the SAS, you're going to be doing the SOS, and that's the bit where, you wait till things are really uncomfortable to do the work, and it's a really difficult time to do the work. So I usually talk about the SAS, and the first part of that, the S, is like your stories and your narratives. It's really focusing in on, the fact that, we're all storytellers. Every time we speak, we're telling stories. And, it's really important that the stories we tell ourselves are strong and powerful stories that will help us have more and be more and do more. Because as you know, our words have got power, like rudders of a boat, our words have power. So often, the work I'm often doing with people around your stories is just making sure your narratives are helping you. And we tell stories often that are, lies told as truth, or that are focused on our feelings and not our facts. So I often invite people to think about, if you were, the stories that you tell yourself have to be really a little bit like, if you were an author, like write well and edit often. Write down some of the stories that you're telling. I have a journal. So you talked about journaling, and this is what it looks like. The stories I'm telling myself, and this is space for me to kind of take note of the stories that come into my mind that might be holding me back. And I've created, a bit of a practice around really thinking about the stories I want to write that are going to encourage and inspire me. So I always say to people, like, get your thoughts down and your stories down on a post-it note, and ask yourself if they're the ones that, if it's a message that's going to drive you forward or hold you back. And we can tweak and we can create brave new endings so our stories can be edited. The A part of SAS in your mental fitness is about the actions you take. So we talked about how we're so action biased, aren't we? Oh, we're always busy, but also people have a lot of barriers around their productivity and taking action. And this, as an occupational therapist, I could talk about this for hours. This is a whole show, because often when people become when mental health becomes very challenging, the first thing that people stop doing is taking actions and practicing just everyday simple things. It could be habits that really support us, or just simple everyday actions that are part of our roles. So there's any number of tools depending on the barriers people face, but we see a lot of perfectionism. We're healthy strivers. We're perfectionism. I'm a recovering perfectionist. It's not a thing. But actually, what I want to get us thinking about is our moonshot goals. Whilst we've got the everyday stuff we need to do, just let's not forget that we've got to keep focused on the idea that it is possible. It really is possible for us to become who and what we want to be, keep an adventure in mind. And so there's something really, really important about kind of just keeping that focus on your wildest dreams and believing that what you want is possible, and really starting to gather as much detail as we can on the things we would really like to create in our lives. The more we can describe something, the more detail, the more possible it is that we can create it. And you think about things like vision board, and these are tools that help us imagine what we want in our wildest dreams. And as an occupational therapist, I was a solution-focused practitioner as well. So I did a lot of work around miracles and best hopes and living your best life. So yeah, I'm inviting you. A lovely free writing exercise that I have in my toolkit is about unlocking blocks that we have that stop us from believing we can actually achieve our moonshot goals. And then the other S of SAS is all about we're, as busy people, we're creating results all the time, every day. We've ticked boxes and we've scored things off our lists. And we are quite transactional in that respect, aren't we? Cause, effect, task. And we often do risk being, over functioning as a result, or under functioning. But how busy we are completely affects our window of tolerance for being, able to be the most, performing the best we can, and being our best and feeling our best as well. So, sometimes the thing we have to do is just start to become, I don't know, like success detectives, or start to hunt the good, starting to pay as much attention to the to-done list as we do to the to-do list. And I was coaching a client recently who was like, everything feels really tough. And instead of trying to help her think about how to do more, we just kind of got the magnifying glass out on what have you been working on and winning at and achieving. Let's just zoom in on your successes. Let's pay attention to where, you're doing good work. And what it really helped us to do was uncover her competencies, her natural gifts and her strengths. And it turned out to be quite a sort of mindset shifting exercise, because what we do when we focus on our success is we give ourselves time to, recognize ourselves, what we bring to the table, congratulate ourselves, and give ourselves permission to slow down, but also remember that success leaves clues. So any results we're creating are translatable and transferable to other parts of life. So I guess what I'm saying is we've got to let's keep focusing on the SAS of our mental fitness. And there are three little sort of snapshots of kind of talk about a whole number of things. My mental fitness model's behind me, and it's a wheel to represent the wheel and the journey of our lives. And also there's 9 different modules within my mental fitness coaching system that are different areas that we can focus on. with different skill sets that we can build, we can teach ourselves, we can strengthen, and kit that we can pack in our kit bag. So, you know, we can all have this. It's available. And actually, I'm just about to launch. I mean, I say just about, I think it might have launched today, but for people listening, it's, you know, it will have launched a course called it's a mental fitness course, and I've called it the Adventure Map, because it's, I think, again, thinking about milestones in our journeys and all the skills and resourcefulness we can bring to the table. In my course, there's about 9 hours of video content with a workbook, and it's all broken down into little bite-sized modules with exercises and worksheets and helpful resources. So loads of stuff. And what I decided was, you know, mental fitness, a bit like physical fitness, it's not like a tick box, it's a way of life. And so it means we've got to keep working on it. And I created the course content, so it's like lifetime content for people to just go back over anytime you feel like you need to strengthen yourself in one area. Go back, reuse this content. It's really, really useful. So the question I always ask people at the start of my course is, so we do a little bit of a mental fitness MOT, and then we say, so is the wheel on the journey of your life a smooth journey or a bumpy ride? And that is where we begin. We start to look at where there's more work to be done. We're a bit like wheels and journeys of where we have maintenance work to do. You know, there's always kind of punctures to attend to and parts that need pumped up and maintenance work. So I guess I wanted to finish off just mentioning my course. And you can find that by looking on my website, which is www.adventurouscoaching.com. And there'll be things on social media about how to access that as well. So a big thank you for giving me time to share a little bit of something that I'm excited to share. I'm excited for other people to access it. And I'm excited to have been here with you today talking about all things adventure and how adventuring is so closely connected to our resilience, our well-being, and our mental fitness.
Well, you answered the question I was going to ask next. So the link for your website and social media and everything will be in the description below. So thank you for that. And people then know where to find you so they can connect with you. And this course sounds amazing, so they can access it by your website. It sounds really great. So thank you so much for sharing your time with us, sharing your adventure nuggets and your adventure stories and the adventures that from people that you know, to give some ideas to our audience. So we really appreciate your time. So thank you very much. And for our listeners, what have you got from this? Are you getting the adventure bug? Is something stewing in your brain? You think, oh, if I do that, I can class it as an adventure. Or what can I try that's new? Or do you have somebody in mind who can be your partner in crime on your adventures? We would love to hear your stories or what adventures you're planning or going on or creating. It doesn't have to be something outdoors. It can be something indoors. You can do it on your own or with groups or 1 or 2 of you. We would love to know what you're doing, because it might give Lenka and I some ideas of what we can do. We always love new ideas. So thank you, and share with us your adventure stories. And until next time, we'll talk to you soon. Bye.
If you enjoyed listening to our conversation, please share it with your friends and colleagues, and don't forget to subscribe. We would love it if you could give us a 5-star rating and write a short review.